to Madame Raven's. This way to the library. She's been expecting you.
A very happy Valentine's Day to you all, my darlings. Today, we are exploring the romantic side of one of my all-time favorite authors, and I would bet one of yours as well if you listen to my channel. Edgar Allan Poe was very much a romantic. He had a lot of loss in his life, a lot of loss of women that he loved very much, and he wrote many poems about it. So we're going to have an Edgar Allan Poe Valentine's reading, I guess. On we go. The first one is Song. I saw thee on thy bridal day, when a burning blush came over thee, though happiness around thee lay, the world all love before thee. And in thine eye a kindling light, whatever it may be, was all on earth my aching sight of loveliness could see. That blush, perhaps, was maiden shame, as such it well may pass, though its glow hath raised a fiercer flame in the breast of him, alas, who saw thee on that bridal day, when that deep blush would come over thee, though happiness around thee lay, the world all love before thee. To redacted. I heed not that my earthly lot hath little of earth in it, that years of love have been forgot in the hatred of a minute. I mourn not that the desolate are happier, sweet, than I, but that you sorrow for my fate, who am a passer-by. Romance. Romance, who loves to nod and sing, with drowsy head and folded wing, among the green leaves as they shake, far down within some shadowy lake. To me, a painted paroquet hath been a most familiar bird, taught me my alphabet to say, to lisp very earliest word, while in the wild wood I did lie, a child with most knowing eye. Of late, eternal condor years so shake the very heaven on high, with tumult as they thunder by. I have no time for idle cares, through gazing on unquiet sky, and when an hour with calmer wings is downed upon my spirit's fling, that little time with lyre and rhyme to while away forbidden things, my heart would feel to be a crime, unless it trembled with the strings. To Helen. Helen, thy beauty is to me like those Nicean barks of yore, that gentle, o'er was perfumed sea, the weary, way-worn wanderer bore to his own native shore. On desperate seas long wont to roam, thy hyacinth hair, thy classic face, thy Naiad's air, have brought me home to the glory that was Greece, and the grandeur that was Rome. Lo, in your brilliant window niche, how statue-like I see thee stand, the agate lamp within my hand. Ah, Psyche, from the regions which are Holy Land. Israfel. And the angel Israfel, whose heartstrings are a lute, and who has the sweetest voice of all of God's creatures. From the Quran. In heaven a spirit doth dwell, whose heartstrings are a lute. None sing so wildly well as the angel Azraphel, and the giddy stars, so legends tell, cease their hymns, attend the spell of his voice, all mute. Tottering above in her highest noon, the enamored moon blushes with love, while to listen, the red levin, with the rapid Pleiades even, which were 7, pause in heaven. And they, the starry choir, and the other listening things, that Israfel's fire is owing to that lyre, by which he sits and sings, the trembling live wire of those unusual strings. But the skies that angels trod, where deep thoughts are duty, where love's a grown-up God, where the hoary glance are imbued with the beauty which we worship in a star. Therefore thou art not wrong, Israfeli, who despisest an unimpassioned song. To thee the laurels belong, best barred because of the wisest. Merrily live and long, the ecstasies above with thy burning measure suit, thy grief, thy joy, thy hate, thy love, with the fervor of thy lute. May well the stars be mute. Yes, heaven is thine, but this, in a world of sweet and sours, our flowers are merely flowers, and the shadows of thy perfect bliss is the sunshine of ours. If we could dwell where Israfel hath dwelt, and he where I, he might not sing so wildly well a mortal melody, while a bolder note than this might swell 50 from my lyre within the sky. The Sleeper. At midnight in the month of June, I stand beneath the mystic moon. An opiate vapor, dewy, dim, exhaled from out her golden rim, and softly dripping drop by drop upon the quiet mountain top, steals drowsily and musically into the universal valley. The rosemary nods upon the grave, the lily lolls upon the wave, wrapping the fog about its breast. The ruined moulders into rest, looking like Lethe. See, the lake a conscious slumber seems to take, and would not for the world awake. All beauty sleeps, and lo, where lies Irene with her destinies? O lady bright, can it be right, this window open to the night? The wanton airs from tree-tops laughing through the lattice drop. The bodiless airs and wizards wrought flit through thy chamber in and out, and wave the curtain canopy so fitfully and fearfully above the closed and fringed lids, 'neath which thy slumbering soul lies hid, that over the floor and down the wall, like ghosts the shadows rise and fall. O lady dear, hast thou no fear? Why and what art thou dreaming here? Sure thou art come o'er far-off seas, a wonder to these garden trees. Strange is thy pallor, strange thy dress, strange above all the length of thy tress, and this all solemn stillness. The lady sleeps. Oh, may her sleep, which is enduring, be so deep. Heaven have her in its sacred keep. This chamber changed for one more holy, this bed for one more melancholy. I pray to God that she may lie forever with an open eye, while the pale, sheared ghosts go by. My love, she sleeps. Oh, may her sleep, as it is lasting, be so deep. Soft may the worms about her creep, far in the forest dim and old. For her may some tall vault unfold, some vault that had often flung its black and winged panels fluttering back, triumph over the crested palls of her grand family funerals. Some sepulchre remote and alone, against whose portal she has thrown in childhood may an idle stone, some tomb from out whose sounding door she never shall force an echo more. Thrilling to think, poor child of sin, it was the dead who groaned within. Lenore. Ah, broken is the golden bowl, the spirit flown forever. Let the bell toll. A saintly sound floats on the Stygian river. And Guy de Vere, hath thou no tear? Weep now or never more. See, on your drear and rigid pyre, lower lies thy love Lenore. Come, let the burial rite be read, the funeral song be sung, an anthem for the queenliest dead that ever died so young, a dirge for her, the doubly dead, in that she died so young. Wretches, ye loved her for her wealth and hated her for her pride, and when she fell in feeble health, ye blessed her that she died. How shall the ritual then be read, the requiem how be sung by you, by yours the evil eye, by yours the slanderous tongue, that did to death the innocents that died, and died so young? Picanimus, but rave not thus, and let a Sabbath song go up to God so solemnly, the dead may feel no wrong. The sweet Lenore hath gone before, with hope that flew beside, leaving thy wild for the dear child that should have been thy bride, for her the fair and debonair, that now so lowly lies, the life upon her yellow hair, but not within her eyes, the life still there upon her hair, the death upon her eyes. Avaunt, avaunt from friends below, the indignant ghost is riven from hell unto the high estate far up within the heaven, from grief and groan to a golden throne beside the King of heaven. Let no bell toll then, lest her soul amid its hollow mirth should catch the note as it doth float up from the damned earth. And I, tonight my heart is light, no dirge will I upraise, but waft the angel on her flight with a paean of old days. To one in paradise, thou wast all that to me love, for which my soul did pine, a green isle in the sea, love, a fountain and a shrine, all wreathed with fairy fruit and flowers, and all the flowers were mine. Ah, dream too bright to last! Ah, starry hope that didst arise, but to be overcast! A voice from the future cries, on, on, but o'er the past, dim gulf, my spirit hovering lies, mute, motionless aghast. For alas, alas, with me, the light of life is over. No more, no more, no more. Such language holds the solemn sea to the sand upon the shore. Shall bloom the thunder's blasted trees, or the stricken eagle soar. And all my days are trances, and all my nightly dreams, and where thy grey eye glances, and where thy footsteps gleam, in what eternal dance, by what eternal streams. To F. Beloved, amidst the eternal woes that crowd around my earthly path, drearer path, alas, where grows not even one lonely rose, my soul at least a solace hath in dreams of thee, and therein knows an Eden of bland repose. And thus thy memory is to me like some enchanted far-off isle in some tumultuous sea, some ocean throbbing far and free with storms, but where meanwhile serenest skies continually just over that one bright island smile. To F-S S-O-D. They could really do better with titles. Thou wouldst be loved? Then let thy heart from its present pathway part not. Being everything which now thou art, be nothing which thou art not. So with the world thy gentle ways, thy grace, thy more than beauty, shall be an endless theme of praise, and love a simple duty. Bridal Ballad. The ring is on my hand, and the wreath is on my brow. Satins and jewels grand are at my command, and I am happy now. And my lord, he loves me well. But when first he breathed his vow, I felt my bosom swell, for the words rang as a knell, and the voice seemed his who fell in the battle down the dell, and who was happy now. But he spoke to reassure me, and he kissed my pallid brow, while a reverie came over me, and to the churchyard bore me. And I sighed to him before me, thinking him dead delore me. Oh, I am happy now. And thus the words were spoken, and this the plighted vow. And though my faith be broken, and though my heart be broken, here is a ring as token that I am happy now. Would God I could awaken, for I dream I know not how, and my soul is sorely shaken, lest an evil step be taken, lest the dead who is forsaken may not be happy now. I am going to finish with one that I have done before, that many have done before, because it is the classic and most well-known, and what Poe called the perfect poem. Of course it is The Raven. Once upon a midnight dreary, while I pondered, weak and weary, over many quaint and curious volume of forgotten lore, while I nodded, nearly napping, suddenly there came a tapping, as of someone gently rapping at my chamber door. "'Tis some visitor," I muttered, tapping at my chamber door. "Only this and nothing more." Ah, distinctly I remember, it was the bleak December, and each separate dying ember wrought its ghost upon the floor. Eagerly I wished the morrow, vainly I had sought to borrow from my books surcease of sorrow, sorrow for the lost Lenore, for the rare and radiant maiden whom the angels name Lenore, nameless here for evermore. And the silken sad uncertain rustling of each purple curtain thrilled me, filled me with fantastic terrors never felt before, so that now, to still the beating of my heart, I stood repeating, "'Tis some visitor entreating entrance at my chamber door. Some late visitor entreating entrance at my chamber door. This it is, and nothing more." Presently my soul grew stronger, hesitating then no longer. "Sir," I said, "or madam, truly your forgiveness I implore. But the fact is I was napping, and so gently you came rapping, and so faintly you came tapping at my chamber door, that I scarce was sure I heard you. Here I opened wide the door. Darkness there, and nothing more. Deep into that darkness peering, long I stood there, wondering, fearing, doubting, dreaming dreams no mortal ever dared to dream before. But the silence was unbroken, and the stillness gave no token, and the only word there spoken was the whispered word, Lenore. This I whispered, and an echo murmured back the word, Lenore. Merely this, and nothing more. Back into the chamber turning, all my soul within me burning, soon again I heard a tapping somewhere louder than before. "Surely," said I, "surely that is something at my window lattice. Let me see then what thereat is, and this mystery explore. Let my heart be still a moment, and this mystery explore. 'Tis the wind, and nothing more." Open here I flung the shutter, when with many a flirt and flutter, in there stepped a stately raven of the saintly days of yore. Nor the least obedience made he, not a minute stopped or stayed he, but with mien of lord or lady, perched above my chamber door, perched upon the bust of Pallas just above my chamber door, perched and sat, and nothing more. Then this ebony bird beguiling my sad fancy into smiling, by the grave and stern decorum of the countenance it wore. Though thy crest be shorn and shaven, thou, I said, art sure no craven. Ghastly grim and ancient raven, wandering from the nightly shore, tell me what thy lordly name is on the night's Plutonian shore. Quoth the raven, Nevermore. Much I marveled this ungainly fowl to hear discourse so plainly, though its answer little meaning, little relevancy bore. For we cannot help agreeing that no living human being ever yet was blessed with seeing bird above his chamber door, bird or beast upon the sculptured bust above his chamber door, with such a name as Nevermore. But the raven, sitting lonely on the pallid bust, spoke only that one word, as if his soul in that one word he did outpour. Nothing further did he utter, not a feather. Then he fluttered, till I scarcely more than muttered, Other friends have flown before. On the morrow he will leave me, as my hopes have flown before. Then the bird said, Nevermore. Startled at the stillness broken by reply so aptly spoken, doubtless, I said, what is uttered is its only stock and store, caught from some unhappy master, who unmerciful disaster followed fast and followed faster, till his song one burden bore. 'Tis the dirge of his hope that melancholy burden bore, of never, nevermore. But raven still began all my fancy into smiling. Straight I wheeled a cushioned seat in front of the bird and bust and door. Then upon the velvet sinking, I betook myself to thinking, fancy upon fancy, thinking what this ominous bird of yore, what this grim, ungainly, ghastly, gaunt, and ominous bird of yore meant in croaking, Nevermore. This I sat engaging in guessing, but no syllable expressing to the fowl whose fiery eyes now burned into my bosom's core. This and more I sat divining, with my head at ease reclining on the cushion's velvet lining, what the lamplight gloated o'er, but whose velvet violet lining, with the lamplight gloating o'er, she shall press, nevermore. Then methought the air grew denser, perfumed from an unseen censer, swung by seraphim, whose footfall tinkled on the tufted floor. Wretch, I cried, thy God hath lent thee, by these angels he hath sent thee respite and nepenthe from thy memories of Lenore. Quaff, oh quaff this kind repent, and forget this lost Lenore. Quoth the raven, Nevermore. Prophet, said I, thing of evil, prophet still, if bird or devil, whether tempter sent, or whether tempest tossed thee here ashore, desolate yet all undaunted, on this desert land enchanted, on this home by horror haunted. Tell me truly, I implore, is there balm in Gilead? Tell me, I implore. Quoth the raven, Nevermore. Prophet, said I, thing of evil, prophet still, if bird or devil, tell this soul with sorrow laden, within the distant Aden, if it shall clasp a sainted maiden, whom the angels name Lenore, clasp a rare and radiant maiden, whom the angels name Lenore. Quoth the raven, Nevermore. Be that word our sign of parting, bird or fiend, I shrieked, upstarting. Let thy back into the tempest and the night's Plutonian shore. Leave no black plume as token of that lie thy soul has spoken. Leave my loneliness unbroken. Quit the bust above my door. Take thy beak from out my heart, and take thy form from off my door. Quoth the raven, nevermore. And the raven, never flitting, still is sitting on the pallid bust of Pallas just above my chamber door. And his eyes have all the seeming of a demon that is dreaming. And the lamplight o'er him streaming throws his shadow on the floor. And my soul, from out that shadow that lies floating on the floor, shall be lifted nevermore. So quoth this raven. I hope you all have a marvelous Valentine's Day, my darlings. A hug and a kiss from me. Thank you so kindly for stopping by my chateau, my darlings. It does mean so much to me. Please, if you have not subscribed, as many of you have not, please do so. Give me a like so I know what you would like to hear. And comment. I always love to read your comments. And special thanks to my Patreon and membership supporters. Ciao, darlings.